بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم اقرأ باسم ربك الذي خلق خلق الإنسان من علق اقرأ وربك الأكرم الذي علم بالقلم علم الإنسان ما لم يعلم.
بسم الله والحمد لله والصلاة والسلام على رسول الله وعلى آله وصحبه من والاه. Shaykh Yousaf ibn Qayyim rahimahullah ta'ala, he mentions in Madarij al-Salikin 10 reasons to attain the love of Allah. I'd like to remind myself and the listeners about these 10 reasons. The first reason that he mentions is reading the Quran and pondering over its meanings. So as we know, reading the Quran has great virtues connected to it. But pondering over its meanings and then acting upon that is greater than that. Pondering is greater than just merely reading. The second thing he mentions is doing voluntary acts of worship, the nawafil. And of course we know farz takes precedence over voluntary acts of worship. But that doesn't mean that they are not important in our religion, but rather one should busy himself in the voluntary acts of worship. The third thing that he mentions is constantly remembering Allah. And the point of benefit that he brings is where he said, the more you love something is the more that you're going to remember it. So if you hardly ever remember Allah, then you should question yourself. And we should all question ourselves, how is our connection to Allah? And how much do we love Him? And how much do we actually remember Him? And how often is it that we open up the Quran and read and try to understand its meanings? The fourth thing he mentioned is learning about Allah's names and attributes. For surely because it's through Allah's names and attributes we get to know who Allah is. So we don't just worship Allah based upon ignorance, but rather we worship Allah because we know Him and because we love Him, and we hope for the reward that He has prepared for the righteous, and we fear the punishment that He has prepared for the criminals. So it's important we know who Allah is through His names and His attributes. And of course His names and attributes are found in revelation, in the Quran and the Sunnah of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. From that which, the fifth thing that which he mentions is prioritizing that which Allah has ordered us with over lusts and desires. But the believer is one who prioritizes the religion of Allah over all things, over his own lusts and desires. The sixth thing he mentions is pondering over the blessings of Allah upon you. And you ponder over the blessings that Allah has blessed you with. And you look around and you compare yourself to those who are lower than you. And you realize how much good Allah has done to you. The seventh thing he mentions is asking Allah sincerely for His love and for His guidance, sincerely from the bottom of your heart. And this is something which every single one of us should increase in. As the Messenger of Allah sallallahu alaihi wasallam would constantly ask Allah for guidance. And as we say, Ihdina sirat al-mustaqim, Allah guide us to the straight path. In Surah Al-Fatiha, in every single salah, every single unit, we make this dua. The eighth thing that he mentions, rahimahullah, is worshipping Allah in the last third of the night, the time of tahajjud and qiyamul layl. The one stands and he calls upon Allah and he worships Him. The ninth thing that he mentions is accompanying the righteous and the pious. As the Messenger of Allah sallallahu alaihi wasallam said, a man is upon the religion of his companions. So it's important we understand we will be affected by our social circle. Sometimes it will affect us. So it's important we understand we are around those people who benefit us. The 10th thing which he mentions is removing any obstacles which should prevent you from getting closer to Allah. So if this thing is preventing you from getting closer to Allah, then this is an obstacle that needs to be removed. And surely Allah knows best, and we ask Allah in ending that He has mercy upon the Imam Ibn Qayyim. Wallahu ta'ala.